I didn't think the pain from the shingles rash would affect simple, everyday tasks like bathing, getting dressed, or even walking around. I was wrong. Though not everyone at risk will develop it, 99% of people over the age of 50 already have the virus that causes shingles, and it could reactivate at any time. I developed it, and the blistering rash lasted for weeks. Don't learn the hard way, like I did. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist today. Sponsored by GSK.
Mom, I saw Dylan's dad make dinner. Actually cook, and it was straight fire. He said it was Blue Apron Assemble and Bake. All the ingredients showed up pre-chopped, and he just laid it out on a baking sheet, and no cap. Dinner was on the table in 25 minutes. Apparently, it's chef design, and it has over 40 grams of protein. That's a lot, right? So maybe we try it. Just saying. You can be the next Dylan's dad. Blue Apron. Get 50% off your first 2 orders, plus free shipping with code LISTEN50. Terms and conditions apply. Visit blueapron.com/terms for more.
Ed, how you doing?
Very good, thank you. 2 more wins for United.
I mean,
rock on.
What's going on? What's happening? How are we winning all these games?
The Galluminati is back in action, isn't it? And United have got the referees to bend all the matches in their favour, or something like that.
Yeah, although Lionel Messi clearly has the referees in his pocket, as he was determined to stop at any cost Zlatan Ibrahimovic catching up with him for most goals scored in calendar year 2016.
Yes. Well, I guess, we've mentioned the referees already there. There's 2 big decisions this week, weren't there? Mike Dean's decision to send off Sofiane Feghouli for West Ham for his interesting-looking tackle on Phil Jones, and Lee Mason's decision to not award Zlatan Ibrahimovic a goal for what looked like a perfectly fair, acrobatic sort of studs up goal past Victor Valdez. What were your thoughts on those 2 big incidents?
I thought it should have been a goal and shouldn't have been a sending off. Controversially, my red hot opinion there is that the referees got both of those 2 decisions wrong. What about you? What's your take?
Yeah, certainly Zlatan's was definitely a goal. Nothing wrong with it at all. By the time the 2 of them collide, Zlatan's foot is about a foot off the ground, and if anything, Victor Valdez has fouled him. He's late to the ball. Zlatan's won it by miles. Perfectly good goal. Completely ridiculous decision. The Mike Dean one, I'm not sure it's as clear cut as that, because for me that's 100% a Zlatan goal. This one, Fegouli's very, very late. No doubt about that one. Jones is miles ahead of the ball, and Feghouli has both feet off the ground when he launches into the tackle. So the question is it careless, reckless, or dangerous? And it's probably not dangerous because he's not studs up, which would suggest a yellow card would have been the best decision there. But reckless, yeah, for sure. Is he in control of himself when he's launched himself? Definitely not. And did he have both feet off the ground? Definitely yes.
Genev saying after the game, involved in lots of controversy, of course, Genev, because he spent 20 minutes slagging off the referee and then said, weird how everyone slags off referees on Twitter. There's more to it than that. But anyway, he said it's not the worst decision you've ever seen. The proof of the pudding is that the FA won't overturn that decision on appeal. And you imagine that they would overturn, in a theoretical world where this could happen, they would overturn the Zlatan goal on appeal. I don't think we've ever talked about this in any serious way on the show. It must have come in as a question from listeners at some point. But, of course, inevitably, the question of using replay technology comes up when stuff like this happens. And the goal decision system's been great because it's binary and instant, which is exactly what you want from automated decision-making systems. But what do you think of the whole video replay? Do you think, it feels at the moment like it would be inevitable.
So, with something like the Zlatan goal, you could have someone quickly review it. I mean, I guess you'd be talking about having a challenge system or something like that, as they do in cricket and tennis, for example, and even in rugby, actually, where the captain can ask, for his rugby league, can ask the video review referee, I think, not being a rugby league expert, someone will correct me, no doubt, on that one. So perhaps something like the red card, I don't think that's obvious that should go to video technology at all. I don't think that one's binary. In fact, the law that's relevant to this isn't binary either. It's open to how you interpret, and there's guidance how you interpret what is careless, what is reckless, and what is dangerous. And I think from the Mike Dean's point of view, when he's at man level and in line with Feghouli, it's probably a perfectly fair decision. Now, you watch it 50 times and in slow motion and stuff like that, and maybe you interpret it differently. You watch it 50 times in slow motion and you're Martin Keown and you're not able to hide your biases, then you think somehow that Phil Jones was in the wrong, we obviously, if we were using video technology or something like that, you have to take all that emotion out of it. There has to be a way of that not creeping in. I don't think people would be happier then. All you do is you slow the game down for 2 minutes, or someone looks at it and everyone disagrees with it afterwards as well.
Yeah, I think it's really tricky, isn't it? Because there are decisions which are just obviously very clear-cut wrong. Now, the Ibrahimovic one, I mean, it's very, very easy for all of us to say he's been absolutely robbed there, and in a way the game's been robbed. I mean, the game of football has been robbed of a great moment there where one of the best players in the world does something really acrobatic and cool and scores a goal with it. But it's not like I don't have any sympathy for the ref in that position, because there is a point in that move where it looks like Ibrahimovic's foot is heading towards Valdez's head, because he can get his leg up that high, and it is face height. And of course, Ibrahimovic has it completely under control. And like you say, by the time Valdez is actually anywhere near him, he's got his leg right down on the ground. And watching it in slow motion, it's really easy to see that was the case. But watching it in normal speed, referees make mistakes, fundamental mistakes of perception, in the sense their literal senses let them down. Our eyes don't provide us with a perfect record of what's happening in front of them. They provide visual signals which are interpreted at, lightning speed by the brain. And sometimes that's not right, So I don't think the referee's a criminal for getting that decision wrong.
No, sure. I mean, to shortcut all that, people make mistakes. Right? Defender makes mistakes from a free kick and doesn't pick up his marker. It's a goal. Striker makes a mistake and shoots wide. Fine. I think some of them are worse mistakes than others. For me, Lee Mason was like the striker missing an open goal from 2 yards out.
Like Antonio Valencia against West Ham.
That kind of thing.
Yeah. It was funny because up until that point in that game, I was thinking, Mason's giving us a lot of decisions. A lot of the little niggly fouls that haven't been going our way this season. We were getting quite a few of them. And I thought that was interesting. And then, of course, the big decision, should we just talk about that game a bit then, shall we?
Yeah.
That goal not being allowed flattened an already flat atmosphere to be flat as an absolute flat pancake that's just been flattened by a particularly heavy steamroller that's really good at flattening things.
Yeah. Driven by Flatty McFlat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was seriously flat.
It wasn't a great first half from United. It was there was no intensity. They were moving the ball very, very slowly through midfield. It's not as if Middlesbrough's tactics could have been a surprise to anybody at all. I mean, Klopp called them the most defensive team he's ever played or something like that. And we knew exactly what they'd do.
Didn't he say that about Sunderland? Didn't he say that about Moisey? Isn't that what
he said it about Middlesbrough a few weeks back. Said it about Sunderland this week. No, this lot are the most defensive team, even though they just scored 2 goals. Agent Moyes sticking it to Liverpool.
Honestly, that man is a scumbag.
Hey, look, there's no way of talking about Klopp like that.
The thing he said after that game. Maybe if I was German, you'd be thinking, oh, he's done something quite good here. It's genuinely, that's why Brexit happened. That is,
he's gone all Brexit.
They're coming over here taking our jobs.
And of course, 65% of people in Sunderland voted for Brexit. He's in the right place.
That's a joke. It's so offensive because actually, as TBN Sport wrote, if I was German and good at my job, you'd be saying I was doing something right here. Anyway, that's not about Borough United. A poor first half, but Paul Pogba hit the post with an overhead kick. That would have been good if that had gone in. Although it was offside, hilariously. That would have been amazing if we'd scored another world-class offside goal.
I don't think too many of them can happen, can they? He did, and in fact, in the end, Paul Pogba was completely running the show for United. Another very good game from him. The player, of course, who really stood out in that Borough game, eventually, after the flat first half, was Anthony Martial. He was absolutely electric, wasn't he, down the left-hand side? The return of Martial, we've been waiting for it, and he was brilliant.
See, I would actually say that we had a bad first 20 minutes, really, because a lot of what Martial did amazing was in the first half, because he hit the post from however far out it was.
Yeah, absolutely thunderous shot, wasn't it?
And, he's hit a few of those at his time at United, and there's never been one that looked good. They always go like miles over or kind of limply into the keeper's hand and kind of wonder why he keeps trying it. Now we know why he's kept trying it, because he's got that on his locker. In his locker.
He has, yeah. And you're probably right. It probably wasn't the whole of the first 45. Although, of course, goalless at half-time. And you kind of felt that if United had just moved the ball a little bit more quickly and taken a few of the chances that were created, and we've said that a few times this season, then it would have been dead and buried by half-time. But it wasn't to be, and Middlesbrough's goal was excellently worked, wasn't it? Not as if they actually deserved that at all. Barely ventured out of their own half, but very, very nicely worked goal. And after that, it just didn't look like it was going to happen at all. Pounding and pounding and pounding away, but not scoring no goal, not creating good enough chances, I guess. And some of the dubious referees' decisions, a couple of good penalty shouts in there, weren't there? And eventually it came through Route 1 football, straight up to Zlatan, who flicked it on. Big man, little man trick.
The commentator goes, this is what on Match of the Day, this is what United have resorted to now. I'm like, we've resorted to an inch-perfect pass from the best midfielder in the world to a literal headed through ball from one of the world's best strikers to Anthony Martial's finish. I'm not sure we can call that Route 1.
No. I mean, it's a long pass from Pogba, a beautiful flick on, and an excellent first-time finish from Martial.
I've got to slightly disagree about the first half in terms of us not moving the ball quickly enough and creating chances and not taking chances, because actually the Zlatan goal was in the first half. So really, we definitely should have been 1-0 up, having taken a really good chance. Because, and another word for Martial, that Zlatan goal, one of the reasons I think everything felt so flat was because Martial had really been so alive and moving the ball incredibly quickly, hit the post, immediately after that cuts around the outside, does a few wigglies, knocks the ball across to Zlatan, and it looked like Martial was just kind of lighting up the place again. He had a really good opportunity, didn't he, just before he scored, and that was when it really felt like, oh my goodness, is this not our day after all? But I have to say, this is a true story, by the way. I was sitting in the press box and I had this moment 5 minutes before the end where we went 1-0 down, where I suddenly pictured someone in the press conference afterwards asking Mourinho, you must be delighted that the boys have shown such good spirit coming back to win 2-1 here. And I really chuckled to myself when someone did actually ask him that question about half an hour later. Because they showed amazing spirit. Immediately after that Martial goal, there was another one. What a header from Paul Pogba.
Right into the top corner, yeah, and difficult to control that ball as well, and lovely piece of work from Juan Mata to get it across. One thing you should say about what happened in that game is that, and we've talked about it a few times on the podcast this season, Mourinho's in-game management. He's the master of this, so we were told, right? And we've kind of criticised him for not feeling like he was making Mourinho-type impact substitutions. Well, we can ditch that criticism, can't we? Because the last 2 games, he's not only has he got it dead right, but it's made all the difference in the world to United's performances.
And he's been prepared to be incredibly bold. So the one real knock against that first half performance, you mentioned not moving the ball around quickly enough. Of course, one of the reasons was the opportunity cost, the walking opportunity cost that is Marouane Fellaini. He didn't have, by his standards, a terrible game, and yet him being in the team was a huge part of what's not working. But he was the first player that Mourinho took off, and it was 0-0 at that time, and I really thought there was every chance he would take Martial off when he was bringing on Mata. But instead, he made the really bold attacking move, took off Fellaini, brought on Mata, then went for it even further, took off one of the centre-backs, I think. He took off Smalling, and who interestingly started with Bailly. So he rested both Rocco and Jones. I asked him about that in the press conference afterwards, and he said he'd done that because he knew he was definitely losing Bailly, so he was always going to play him in that game. And I suppose he just decided to rest both Rocco and Jones because they played so much. Bringing on Rashford, I thought was absolutely instrumental in that game. Mata obviously made a telling contribution to the goal, but I thought that was Rashford's best cameo for absolutely ages, and he then was man of the match with a 30-minute cameo against West Ham. A brilliant couple of games from the youngster.
Yeah, it really made an impact. Look, Fellaini, he slows the game down. He's not technically good enough. He's not good with progressive passing. Mourinho definitely wants United to be more vertical, in the parlance of the day, I suppose, and he's just not well suited. He's just not well suited to United. And there were times when he was playing as the deepest of the 3 midfielders, and times when he was right up front. I mean, he actually had 5 shots in the game, right? But I struggled to recall a time he had a real impact, other than a negative one. And back to the substitutions, I mean, he took Smalling off and went to 3 at the back. And it's really, I just don't remember another time this season when he's done a lot of like for like substitutions, and a lot of them feel like kind of sports science ones, especially with Mata. He's dragging him off on the hour or 70 minutes all the time. And this felt like he was trying to impact the game in United's favour, being a little bolder, and he talked about it afterwards, didn't he? Basically, with Mkhitaryan playing at left back and Valencia at right back, United were playing sort of a 2-3-5 by the end of the game, and really hammering away, and deserved the win.
It was absolutely. I mean, it was Fergie's 75th birthday, and we did that. I mean, it was perfect. It was just perfect, and from being flat, that's definitely the best atmosphere inside Old Trafford this season, that last 5 minutes. It was just like, oh my goodness, are we back? I think we might be back. We're back. We seem to be back. What's going on? Are we back? And it was electric. It was absolutely electric in there. I was sat in line with Paddy Crerand, who was on doing comms for MUTV, and just stood up, both hands in the air, kind of not quite jumping around because he's an older gentleman now, is Paddy, but fully celebrating that goal. It was good.
Yeah, it was very good. And more evidence of Pogba's rise to, if not the best central midfielder in the world, close to it. And I'm beginning to feel that not only did United get a steal paying 90 million for Pogba, but, could have paid significantly more and it's still been good value. Players of this class make a massive difference.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know if it was man of the match against Borough. He might have been. It was definitely man of the match. Yeah, he was. I'd give him man of the match against Borough. And then, Rashford against West Ham. I think everyone looked pretty tired against West Ham, but Pogba was good again. And against Borough, he was just vital, and then scored the winner as if to prove how vital he was. Martial, you mentioned how good he was. Mourinho was asked about that in the post-match press conference, and I think he made everyone in the room's ears prick up with his answer. He was asked if that was the best game Martial had for him, and he said, Martial has to listen to me, not his agent. and he was talking about how all the way through the Mkhitaryan saga, Raiola was on the phone to him every day or several, often saying, "Don't worry, I know you're going to make Mickey better. It's fine. We're not worried. No one's worried here." And instead, he's seeing with Martial in the stories about Sevilla and moves on loan and his agent talking. And you have to say, I think Mourinho's got this one right. I think it's worth saying it publicly.
Well, it certainly comes to something if you're going to take that course of action, and you have to feel that. I mean, it's a bit of a gamble, isn't it? Because if the player reacts badly to it, then he's going to be ending up out of the club. And it doesn't look like it's coming to that. It doesn't look like it's coming down to a Torre City Mexican standoff, does it? In terms of Martial versus Mourinho, there's only going to be one winner if it ever came to that anyway. And I hope the performance against Middlesbrough shows that he's back on the right track. It was definitely a surprise that he wasn't in the lineup against West Ham, and I guess it could have been fatigue. I mean, he's not played a lot of games this season, so it's not as if he's over the top on the amount of minutes he's played. But I'm going to assume it's fatigue and a little bit of tactical stuff because Jesse Lingard coming in is a very, very sound defensively and tactically in an away game.
The other thing is a lot of people pointing out that actually after all the subs had been used, Martial took a really heavy knock against Borough. And it wasn't long after that, of course, the West Ham game. So maybe something to do with that too.
Well, if he's not fit, he's not on the bench. So I'm not sure if I necessarily buy that one. But yeah, fatigue, tactical, mix of both. Who knows? Hopefully that doesn't have a negative reaction on the player though, and he's back for the game at the weekend against Reading because he certainly deserves it. He deserves some time, doesn't he? Because we know how talented he is, and it will be a huge boost to United if he's back in the form of last year because that's a kind of Mkhitaryan style boost if we get that, isn't it?
Well, and it was against Borough, wasn't it? It was that level of impact. And without him in the team, that game would have looked really different. It was so exciting. It was a really exciting game all the way to the end, that game. And obviously it had that kind of blockbuster finish that we associate with United. And it did have a special feeling. And like you say, the Mourinho substitutions both against Borough and against West Ham, and his team selections, he's getting a lot right during this run. This run isn't just happening, is it? It's like a lot of the things that people have asked for ages, the switch to 4-3-3, the more progressive use of substitutes, the kind of more fluid selections up front. All of these things are happening, and that's 7 wins in a row now, 6 wins in a row in the league. I mean, we're still 6th, but we're like not many points off people a lot further ahead of us now.
Right. Only a couple of wins off being 3rd. So, yeah, I mean, of course, if Jose had been listening to this podcast from about week 1 or 2 of the season, we could have told him all this already. It's taken him a little while. He's a bit slow on the uptake of Jose, but it's slowly coming right. The switch 4-3-3, the use of attacking players seems to have found a good balance at the back. Luck more than judgment, perhaps, but, now judgment. Particularly the decision to bring Michael Carrick back in sort of November. He's going to have to use Carrick right towards the end of the season because he's a massive difference for United, huge difference. Not only is he making United a better defensive side, but a much better attacking side, and he's able to release so much more in Paul Pogba. So there are things that he's made changes to, and the decision to drop Rooney now doesn't seem that controversial, does it? Despite all the talk at the time, it's clearly the right one. All of this is playing in Jose's favour, and he's made the big decisions he had to. United probably will pay for the starts of the season, though, and the number of defeats, at least in terms of a title challenge. We'll see if it impacts on the top 4. Some of these decisions could have been made earlier, and they could have made a material difference, perhaps.
But yeah, that's the thing, though, isn't it? There was a lot going on earlier, and he's shifted through it and got to good outcomes, and that's good. And I think the other thing that we really should talk about is the style, because this was a big harping talking point for a lot of people, and I don't think you can compare the style of attacking football, even with his Chelsea team when they were really dominant, there is a kind of muscular, purposeful, exciting dynamism to United's attack. There is a kind of relentlessness about the attacking football that I didn't really associate with that Chelsea team. That Chelsea team, this team does not look like at 2-0 up, it's just going to park the bus and settle for 2-0 and rest on the pitch and all that.
Wow.
I mean, to an extent, maybe it's just because we've hardly ever been 2-0 up. But I don't know. I think he deserves... I don't see why he doesn't deserve credit for the style of play, which I think has been very exciting to watch.
It is exciting to watch because United are having a lot of shots and creating a lot of chances, right? I mean, they're definitely more direct. And I don't mean that in terms of playing long ball football, just they get the ball from back to front much, much more quickly. I mean, any team would get it from back to front more quickly than Van Gaal's side, but just quickly. And yeah, that makes it fun to watch. It's never going to be the kind of beautiful tiki-taka Barcelona-style football. But, we weren't asking for that. I don't think fans at United have ever expected that kind of football. We had a variant of that with Van Gaal, a kind of slow-motion variant of it with backwards passing. But we want vibrant, attacking, bold football, and we're getting there now. Now, I wouldn't go over the top with that analysis because I don't think we've had that all the way through the season, and we didn't have it for all of the game against Middlesbrough. It was quite slow for a lot of that first half, and it really took going behind to up the intensity. I mean, that last half hour is magic, right? But It wasn't like that the whole way through. And there's some very good psychological analysis of this, that people remember the end point of any experience and the key highlights, right? They forget everything up to that. And it's shown time and time again. So remembering the fantastic goal at the end and the last 30 minutes will wipe out your memory of the first hour or so. Right. Drop that for a second and think about it again. We're very, very slow for that first half hour, as slow as they were quick and direct in the last half hour.
So, yeah, I mean, United had more than 30 shots in that game, and they had 9 shots in the first half an hour. Then between the half an hour and the 60-minute mark, they had, let me have a look quickly, they had 12 shots in that period. And then between the 60th minute and the final whistle, they had 12 shots. So it did speed up the kind of chance creation or shot creation, at least, as the game went along, but not by that much.
33% increase.
Yeah, that's not bad. But 3 more shots in half an hour. One more.
A 33%
One
increase.
more shot every 10 minutes.
Hey, 3 shots was about all we averaged under Van Gaal.
Yeah, this is true. So, I kind of hear what you're saying, and I don't entirely disagree that maybe the very start of that game was a bit shaky, but we'd hit the post and had a disallowed goal. We'd hit the post twice and had a goal disallowed in the first half an hour, in the first half. So I think it was pretty attacking.
Okay, let me put it another way. If United had played with the same intensity as the last half hour, in the first half hour, the game would have been over in 30 minutes.
Yeah, okay.
So as a team, we haven't quite hit those levels of intensity. And that's what Mourinho's Chelsea team actually did. They beat a lot of teams in the first half hour. And he did shut games down after that. They actually scored 110 goals in one season.
Yeah.
And he's done that at Real Madrid as well. So it's only a couple of seasons at Inter and his last one at Real Madrid where they're a bit more negative. But I think there's just, all I'm saying is there's a little way to go before we talk about United being sort of peak United under Mourinho.
Oh, I'm not talking...
And we'll see how far we get towards that by the end of the season, of course.
But I'm not talking about peak performance. I'm talking about intention and style of play. And there was a lot of doubts about what the nature of his style of play was. And I think it would take a very cynical reading of the season so far to say that he hasn't made a conscious effort to adapt to the fact that he's Man United manager. And he has, I think, My reading of it is he has some internal pressure, maybe even some external pressure in terms of the people giving him the job in the first place, to make some sort of statement of intent about attacking play. That's my take on it anyway. He talks about it a lot.
He does.
And I know it's just talk, but he does talk about it a lot. So it's clearly on his mind. We've hardly talked about the West Ham game, have we? I guess we should cover that too. Now, coming 2 days after Borough, now there was a game where people weren't moving the ball around quickly enough. And it was like, I mean, I have to say, I don't think that's Mourinho or the team's fault. I think that's the notion that it's somehow okay to play 2 professional football matches in 3 days.
I think Rent-A-God Bray would have something to say about that, wouldn't he?
Yeah, and I strongly suspect I would agree with him. I don't know about you.
Yeah, clearly. I mean, both teams had played a couple of days beforehand. Quite a number of United's players looked tired and leggy. I mean, Herrera and Pogba were looking not as zippy as normal, were they? And a few others throughout the team. I mean, he made 5 changes to the team that faced Borough, so he freshened things up a little bit. He'd made 5 changes for the Borough team from the previous match. So he's using his squad more heavily than he might have done through some of the run of the last 13 games or so, the unbeaten period, which is very sensible. He'll make a similar number of changes against Reading, maybe even more, and then against Hull in the League Cup after that, So fair enough, he's using the squad and he should do. But yes, they looked a bit tired. It was a bit flat. As a whole. Funny, I talked about this last week, West Ham fans. I said, we're enemy number 1. And you were like, oh, they might have something to say about that with Tottenham and Chelsea and so on. It's been like a morgue, the Olympic Stadium, all season, except when West Ham fans are beating each other up. And suddenly they find an atmosphere and care about a football game. Funny that, isn't it?
Yeah, it was mostly, I'm going to say that at least a bit of that was about Mike Dean, to be fair. It definitely seemed to change the nature of the atmosphere inside the stadium, the Feghouli sending off. There was a sense of injustice, I think.
Yeah, well, they can go stick their injustice. I'm not bitter about West Ham 995, Andy Cole or anything like that.
Of course not. The whole game was not much of a spectacle until late on, and United were really lucky. I mean, actually, it was sort of similar to the Adama Traore, who was really good, actually, for Borough. Gave Daley Blind a torrid time. I thought of you when he knocked the ball past Daley Blind, went round him, knocked the ball back on the other side of Blind, and then round him again just to prove that he could, all before Blind had caught up with him. I think most people would lose a running race to Adama Traore, to be fair. But anyway, when he kind of broke through in the first half and had players to his left and right and decided to shoot for reasons only known to himself, surely. But it was similar again. I can't even remember who it was that had the chance for West Ham. Not the one where De Gea made the good save, but the one in the second half where De Gea didn't even have to make a save because they just knocked it straight at him.
Yeah, I can't remember who that was. I mean, De Gea made 4 very smart saves in that game, and he was the player that Mourinho ran to first when the game was finished. Match-winning saves from De Gea, and he's not had to make too many of those in recent games, but really vital contribution. And West Ham, they, as the game went on, and they spent 75 minutes without a full complement of players, didn't they? I thought they had some very good spells in the game. They were game, and it kind of showed that they have been in slightly better form of late. Not enough, of course.
Definitely not if they've got European ambitions and stuff. But yeah, no. But enough to save Bilic's job, you would imagine, for the time being. Then Mourinho made the changes again, and I mean, imagine how delighted he would be. Just brings on Rashford and Mata, and they combine for a goal. Absolutely perfect. It was interesting. Mata was standing with Rui Faria for ages, looking at documents and taking really specific instructions in a way that I haven't seen that much of this season. Talk about the kind of attention to detail that you associate with Mourinho and the kind of peak Mourinho. He was asked after the game what instructions he'd been given, and he was clearly didn't give a full answer to that question, but he said, he just said in passing there were some spaces, and I think that the management team had said to him, look, this is where the spaces are, exploit it, because he's obviously the kind of player that can do that. And when Rashford looked up, he saw Mata in acres of space, and it was it's the kind of thing that Mata does so well, isn't it?
Right, gets into the right place, and he's a very, very composed finisher. That's why he puts up very good numbers. I mean, not too many goals this season, 4 or something like that. But throughout his career, he's scored plenty. Real impact. And Mourinho was asked after the game about the decisions, and he was the decision to bring on Rashford and Juan Mata. Yeah, worked out very well. Thank you very much.
It was good.
Classic
good
Mourinho.
Line. Good line. Yeah.
In-game management. That's what we expect from Mourinho. And Aitor Karanka talked about it before the Middlesbrough game. He said he's the best. He's the best at that. He spots the thing that nobody else does. Use the anecdote about Real Madrid. They were going to bring on a striker for Karim Benzema in the game against United a few seasons back, and then he got sent off, and he made a decision in 10 seconds to bring on Luka Modric, who of course won the game for them, and that's what Mourinho's known as, and we hadn't seen much of it, and now we're getting it, and it's good.
Yeah, absolutely. It was funny being in the press conference with Aitor Karanka when he was talking about Mourinho was hilarious, because it was just like, he's my best mate, I love him, he's my best mate, over and over again. It was like Sam Allardyce talking about Fergie. It was proper man love, and they were both late to the press conferences because they'd been hanging out with each other instead. But yeah, it was nice to see. It comes across really well, Karanka does, and he is doing a pretty good job at Borough, isn't he?
Yeah, I suspect he's going on to bigger and better things.
Yeah, absolutely. Mourinho will be recommending him for the United job.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure that we should take recommendations from ex-managers. Didn't work out too well. David Moyes. We're talking about David Moyes' sort of Brexitism, his UKIP vote. Didn't he only get the United job because he's Scottish?
So offensive. It's so offensive. And like, most of the stuff we talk about with David Moyes is like what he's doing. There's nothing that wrong with anything that he's doing. But this is actually an insidious, borderline evil. I'm not saying he's borderline evil, but this is a borderline evil idea. This is an idea on which evil has certainly flourished in recent history. The idea that the foreigner is treated more favourably than the native son, and with Moyes, who got the Man United job in spite of never having won anything, it's an absolute joke. He genuinely should be ashamed of himself for having uttered those words. He should look long and hard in the mirror and be ashamed of himself.
Wow, a couple of stints on Full-Time Devils and you turn into a ranter. I like it.
Come on now. This is called the Rantcast, isn't it? This is the only ever occasionally accurately named, but it's true. It's genuinely bad what he said there, and it's because it's football. We all brush it off and whatever, but this is the lie that they're coming over here and stealing our jobs being, repeated around the world.
No, I agree with you. It's extremely insidious. Bilic, after the West Ham game, had a lot of things to say as well. Nothing quite that insidious, but he certainly played on this kind of... I mean, it's easy to play victim, isn't it, against Manchester United? You're going to get the headlines that somehow United get all the decisions, and I thought it was interesting in sort of social media. There were a couple of articles, one in the Manchester Evening News, a couple of other people done their own lists of how many decisions might have gone against United this season, a few big ones, and Mourinho has talked about it in the past, and I think it's easy to trade in conspiracies, the easiest one of which is to say that United get the favourable decisions. It's nonsense, of course. Why should Manchester United get the best decisions at West Ham? Why should there be a conspiracy? They got the rub of the green on a big one. So Bilic played that one. Maybe he has to because he's under some pressure because, West Ham have sunk quite a bit this season.
I mean, there were 3 United players offside for our second goal as well.
Well, no, only one's active. So the linesman can ignore Pogba and whoever the other third one was. And with Zlatan, well, he's walking back and his back foot is in line with the West Ham player and his front foot is well ahead and his body's obviously well ahead. So, he's offside, but it's not 2 yards offside.
Well, no, because you can be offside if any part of the body that can score a goal is offside. So whatever the furthest forward bit of his body was quite a long way offside anyway, wasn't it? So.
Well, I don't know. I'm just measuring my own body here. I'm going to guess I'm about 40 or 50 centimetres wide.
He's a big lad, though,
That's
isn't
about
he?
how far
He's a
off.
big lad, Zlatan.
Well, he's a bit like upwards.
Yeah. And widewards as well. He is massive. He's a giant human. We were talking before the show, because there was a stat going around on Twitter today that Zlatan Ibrahimovic, I laugh when I say this, has missed just 36 days from injury in his career. Missed 36 games through injury in his career. Now, whether or not the transfermarkt.co.uk data is correct or not, I couldn't tell you. But that definitely backs up that statistic. It's ridiculous. The man is a machine.
Yeah, look, I'm not saying this is a coincidence, but he did play at Barcelona for a year.
He did. But
Dr. Feelgood Fuentes. Just saying.
Pep's not feeling good, is he?
Pep's not feeling good at all. Pep's gone a bit Rafa. He's cracking up a little bit. That interview with the BBC, was it BBC or Sky?
Yeah, BBC. No, Damien Johnson.
That's right.
The BBC.
Really, really bizarre. Really bizarre. Not normal behaviour. Not very classy at all. And I'm not quite sure what he was trying to get out of it, because it sounded like it was a bit planned. You know, I think it's funny to say he's cracking up. He's probably not cracking up. Damien Johnson saying on Twitter that afterwards he said, it's not personal. What's he trying to achieve?
Yeah, I mean, it almost looked like... It looked maybe like they were talking at cross purposes or something. Like somehow he'd thought that the journalist was being narc. And Damien Johnson is he's a nice guy. You know, his persona is as a nice guy. He's not like a horrible. He's not Jeff Shreves. You know, it didn't look or sound like he was trying to wind him up. I think Johnson gets a little bit on the defensive when Guardiola is clearly in a massive huff, and he's like, "You won the game. You don't seem very happy." Because I kind of had to double check whether they'd won when I saw that interview, because I saw the interview before I saw the highlights of the game. Very, very peculiar.
No, and then AS comes out with a story saying it's a bit of Brexit in the coverage of Pep Guardiola, suggesting that it's some kind of hatred of foreigners that's precipitating negative press for Guardiola. I mean, hang on a minute. I think he's been very well shielded by his reputation at City. I don't think he's got a lot of stick. His City side defend like a pub team, for what they're doing, given the amount they've just spent £50 million on a defender, for God's sake, and that was before spending £30 million on Otamendi. For what they've achieved defensively this season, I think they've had it quite easily off the press. Mourinho got a hell of a lot more stick in the early part of the season. So, yeah, I think Pep's getting, a pretty fair deal. There's the article that did the rounds today with a confidant at Pep saying that Pep sees Manchester City as a Villarreal type side. And that went down well with some United fans, I have to say. Yeah, I was like, yeah, that's about right, except Villarreal, with the Real bit being the royal family, which... Obviously, the Abu Dhabi royal family in City's case. That'd be about right.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's... This is, as we so often say on the show, this is not binary. Because it's not like there aren't people in the British football establishment who would be falling over themselves with Schadenfreude if Pep couldn't cut it on a wet and Wednesday night in Stoke. This is the dream for a certain kind of proper football man. But then also there are a lot of people who are fully paid up members of the cult of Pep Guardiola, and plenty of grey area in between those two polar opposites. So I think it is fair to say that there is a component of British football culture that wants to see this modern tippy-tappy nonsense cut out, and brought down a peg or two by the magic of the Premier League or whatever. But also, as you say, like, if you compare the response to his team struggling to the response to United struggling, it's been markedly different.
Right. Anyway, so look, 2 wins for United. This is good, isn't it? I mean, it's very good. And we haven't had this kind of run for 5 years, and it doesn't look like ending soon. You'd expect United, will come on to this in a little bit, we'd expect United to beat Reading and Hull in the Cup. I mean, albeit with some changes. Rightly, there should be some changes for those games. And then Liverpool next is a big one. This is going to be a real test because, United haven't played a top side in this run.
Just Spurs. Spurs at home.
Just Spurs. Okay, Spurs at home, yeah. Spurs, pretty good side, of which United are now drawing level on points with. And Liverpool at Old Trafford, big test.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we'll have a lot to say about that probably in next week's show as we do a full preview of that after the cup games. Should we take some questions for listeners in the meantime?
Let's do it.
Wait a minute. I think I was bleeped in last week's podcast according to @Jaffo. I don't know what I said, but it definitely wasn't a word that you would have to bleep. Maybe Tom just put it in the wrong place when he was trying to bleep Ed. Apologies to anyone that was listening with young children to that show. It went a bit wrong. I stopped then, Ed, because I'm not going to lie, and please feel free to leave this in, Tom. Fully expected Ed to just insert a random swear word for no reason there.
Would I do something like that? I've learnt my lesson. I am not going to swear.
@Errol22D says, I backed United at 1-0 down against Borough and we turned it round for the first time in a long time. Are we back? And then he said, great show, thumbs up. I'm just including that for full disclosure.
Yeah, I think we might be good again.
I think we might be good again.
I've got a little inkling.
We'll see if we go bad again soon, but for now we're definitely good again.
3 points off third. 3 points off, 5 off second. Not bad at all.
We were talking about what par would be over the festive season, and we've just won every game. Like, all of them. Plenty of banana skins in there, just won them all. Just won all those games.
Birdied every hole.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anyone in the game who could be the true heir to the number 7 jersey at Old Trafford? Says @specialK_2311. Yes, there is, but we had him and we let him slip through our fingers.
Well, I don't know. Bebe wasn't that good.
That's what I was going to say. Playing his trade in Portugal, knocking in screamers into the top corner from 30 yards every other game. The boy Bebe, the natural heir. The fact that Ferguson didn't give Bebe the number 7 shirt is why the number 7 shirt has been cursed.
Very true. There's that other chap over at Real Madrid as well. He might come back one day.
What, that old guy?
Yeah, just signed a 5-year contract, another 5-year contract, so he'll be at Real Madrid for some time to come, I guess.
Nah, he loves Man United. He's coming home any minute. That's what he really wants.
What do you think of the supposed €300 million bid for Ronaldo? They'd have paid him £1 million a week.
It's good, isn't it? I mean, Tevez has gone there and everyone's going, oh, he said he wanted to go home, but now he's gone to China. I'm like, all right. When you've been offered 600 grand a week and turn it down, you can say something about that. But he's been offered £600,000 every week. That's like, it's not easy to turn that down. Ronaldo, I mean, I think it was on Second Captains where they were saying, if you're Messi or Ronaldo, you're at least saying to your agent, look, just find out how much they would pay us.
It's a hell of a lot of money, and
for
Tevez, there's a huge transfer fee involved as well, which is bizarre given his age.
Well, I'd read that, and I'd also read that there wasn't, so it was very confusing, that situation. Oscar, of course, has gone there in something like his prime.
Yeah, and looks like Axel Witsel is going to China as well in his prime. So it's no longer just old men and Brazilians. Money talks.
Yeah, absolutely. If an actor was to play José Mourinho in a film about his United managerial reign, asks @Across the Keeper, who would it be? It's still got to be George Clooney. It's the only casting that makes sense. He's got the hair, he's got the charisma. It all works.
Maybe Liam Neeson, seeking revenge on everyone in the game who's wronged him.
I've got a certain set of skills, mostly substitutions and being angry.
Well, at least one of those skills would be very useful in a Liam Neeson film.
At Level 2 Rogue says, which teams above us do you think we've got the best chance of chasing down for a top 4 finish? And I think it's actually a really great question and not a comfortable question either, because even though we've narrowed that gap considerably, there is still a gap. And at some point, we're going to stop winning every game.
Yes, but so might others as well. So, look, there's a win between Tottenham, Arsenal and Manchester City and United, right? That's it. One win any other way. And they're all flawed, all of them. Arsenal, spirit and manager.
Arsenal.
Manchester City, their ability to defend. Liverpool, their ability to defend. I mean, obviously they score a bag load of goals. It's Chelsea that look uncatchable at the moment. We'll see whether that continues forever. At the moment, they are defensively great and very good going forward as well. But yeah, Spurs, Arsenal, City, Liverpool, they've all got flaws. So have United, of course. But it only needs two of them to not be perfect or be 1 point less perfect than United from here to the end of the season for United to get into that top four. It's looking so much better than a month ago, where we were looking at a sort of 9 and possibly, if the Tottenham game had gone the other way, 12-point gap to the top four.
So which of the two teams, to answer Phil's question, which of the two teams do you think it will be that we've got the best chance of overhauling?
Spurs and Arsenal, probably. City look more flawed than Arsenal, but they've got a better squad. You got to think that it's going to be more likely they get it right. Of course, Arsenal always finish in the top four. Maybe this year they don't.
There's so much quality in both of those sides, though, even though they're flawed and struggling. But like Sanchez and Ozil, and what you need in these tight situations is game-changing players, and it will be really fascinating to see if Gabriel Jesus settles in quickly at City, because I think he could. If he does, he'll have a big bearing on whether it's them or another team.
Yeah, we'll see. He's a young player coming from South America into the Premier League. Every cliche would say that he might struggle a little bit at first. He was great in the Olympic tournament. It's the only time I've ever seen him. Can't pretend to be an expert on Brazilian football, but he was very good for Brazil during the Olympics.
Excuse me. At Martin Forsland says, will Jose's lack of rotation in central midfield prove costly? Some starting to look tired, yet the alternatives are few.
Yeah.
I think that's one of our, you were talking about flaws. I feel like that's one of ours, covering central midfield. Doesn't take long for Mauro and Fellaini to get a start.
No, and Schneiderlin and Schweinsteiger basically frozen out. I mean, it's if you were going to fix something during the transfer window, that would be number one, wouldn't it? I mean, if Schneiderlin is definitely going to go and Schweinsteiger would go, we've got a bid. I mean, it doesn't look like he's getting anywhere near a game, does it? You'd ship both of those out and you'd want another central midfielder.
Yeah, absolutely. Interesting that Schweinsteiger got on the bench ahead of Schneiderlin for the West Ham game. For the Borough game, sorry.
Yeah, well, bids for Schneiderlin this week from West Brom and Everton, it seems. United holding out for a bit more money. I think that's right, given the general level of inflation. Is Schneiderlin suddenly £10 million worse a player than when United bought him? I don't think so. He's just not as good as the options that United have got in midfield.
Talking of options, at Arnav Kumar says, remember Ashley Young? Yeah, I remember Ashley Young. I forgot all about him.
Yeah, is he out of contract at the end of the season? I mean, either way, it's his last season at United, isn't it? Surely.
I'm almost sure Van Gaal gave him a 3-year deal. It's great. Our football team's great. All right. I think we've had this question before, but I'm going to do it again just in case. At Brian Fury 94 says, what's your favourite kit in the past 20 years? It's the 94-95. No, 93-94 kit, I think. They might be the same, actually. But laces across the top. That print, sharp, collar.
Yeah. The 99 kit was pretty nice. I mean, with the white collar. It's pretty. It's uncomfortable if you wear it. I have to say, it's kind of chokes you around the neck.
It always kind of looks uncomfortable. That's why I don't like it.
I mean, for some randoms, I like the kit that United wore to win the 1991 Ramblers Cup. That's a terrible kit. terrible kit.
It's an absolute classic. I will not have a word said against that most 90s
I think we should
objects.
bring it back. I mean, just as a retro thing to do. There's almost certainly one in the club shop because they have that retro section there, don't they? And no, I was thinking for the Cup Winners' Cup final, the all-white kit. Very nice, very smart, I thought.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, that is a belter. It really is.
And just for nostalgic value, I quite like the green and the green and yellow they wore for the one season, especially that, remembered for Eric Cantona's chip against Crystal Palace, I think, or Wimbledon. Can't remember.
Talking of kits that are remembered for a chip, an Eric Cantona chip, the Eric Cantona chip against Sunderland kit, 97, I think. An absolute beaut, that full Eric Cantona collar magic kit. I like all the classics. I like your black third kit sharp view cam job, I tell you one thing I can say for sure is that my favourite United kits are all either sponsored by Sharp or no one. Like, nothing in the post-Sharp era cuts it for me.
No, last year's kit wasn't bad apart from the monstrosity of a logo. Anything they do now is cheapened by the Chevrolet logo across the front because it just looks cheap.
The thing about the word Sharp is it actually means something other than just the brand. So, that sort of works. I remember being confused and somewhat disgusted when we got rid of Sharp and started being sponsored by Vodafone. It was really unsettling. That was. I didn't like it.
I do love that brilliant team photo or promo photo where they're wearing their kit with all the electronics around them, and of course it looks just wonderfully dated now with, cutting edge Betamax video player.
Just Ron Atkinson and a microwave, basically. Both, everything on that is particularly dated. Ron Atkinson's opinions, the consumer goods, the whole lot, the haircuts. Friend of the show, Mary, says, where does Pogba rank among Europe's best midfielders?
He's right up there. With central midfielders with Luka Modric, who's been brilliant again this season. Iniesta's obviously getting a bit older now, but still massively effective. Verratti at PSG, right up there with all the best. Probably the best. But, to really seal that deal, he needs to win some things with United.
Yeah, I love Modric. And, having Modric and Pogba in the same team. No, actually, shh. Don't give anyone ideas. Shh. We've only just got him back. Let's not talk about that. All right. In fact, this is going to be the last question because I think this is a brilliant question. There's loads of great questions that we've not got time to get to this week, so I'm sorry about that. But at Ed P. Gleason says, of all the players purchased since he left, which ones do you think Fergie would have bought and made a success? I think Fergie would have loved to have Pogba back. I think that's pretty clear. I think this might just be because I love him, but I think Fergie would have loved Ander Herrera. Yeah,
I think he probably would have. I can't really think of a Ferguson midfielder that he really resembles, honestly. He's just a little bit different. He's like, he's what Liam Miller was supposed to be. But never was by a very long way. No, I'm qualifying it.
Yeah.
Maybe he's what Jemba Jemba was supposed to be.
Yeah, maybe. They were both supposed to be the new Roy Keane.
And Herrera's not the new Roy Keane. He's his own player and a very specific type of player. But a great one to watch. And isn't it great to see him doing so well at United under Jose?
Yeah, Luke Shaw as well. I'm sure Fergie would have loved working with Luke Shaw. That seems like a very natural fit there.
Yes, it does. Let's hope Luke Shaw's back soon. Mourinho talked about him in the pre-Middlesbrough press conference and said he's not ready, but he's training. So
it'd be good if he listens to Mourinho and not his agent. They just all need to listen to Mourinho and not their agents. Well, it's what they've all got to do.
He also needs to listen less to his stomach.
Come on now, listen. He's a professional athlete, that man. He hired a fitness coach for the summer in Dubai.
Yeah,
he may have heard that story.
Yeah, I've heard that story. I wonder what he was doing in Dubai. He should hire Zlatan's fitness coach. Zlatan, who has his own personal fitness coach. Everyone should hire that guy.
Yeah. When Zlatan retires, there's going to be a massive bidding war for that guy's services. Right, well, we have an interview for you now. Of course, this part of the show is brought to you by the people that back the show at patreon.com/rankcast. That enables us to put a bit more time in behind the scenes and do the work it takes to get some fantastic guests. We've had some brilliant guests on the show already and some more excellent ones planned for the rest of this season. And I was... that starts right now, so let's hear a conversation I had earlier today with Sam Homewood from Time Devils. Well, we're absolutely delighted to be joined by Sam Homewood. Sam will be no doubt familiar to many of you from his excellent work with Manchester United YouTube channel Time Devils. I can't imagine there's too many people listening to this that don't know what that is. How you doing, Sam?
I'm really far too complimentary in your introduction. No, I'm uncomfortable.
I couldn't be happier to be talking to you. One of my favourite people on the whole internet, Sam.
Thanks very much.
So tell us a bit about when did you sort of start supporting United?
Do you know, it's very strange, and I don't know, and I've answered this question a lot, and I really don't know. My granddad, because I grew up in southeast Kent, so occasionally people on the internet will throw Cockney Red at me as an insult. Mm-hmm. And I have to point out that I actually grew up so close to the coast that I'm 60 miles south of London where I grew up. So even Cockney Red makes me more northern than I am. So it's just wrong to go with that. My granddad, who grew up down there too, is a Wolves fan, like a diehard Wolves fan, and I've no idea why. And so my dad, when he was growing up, who was a motocross rider and wasn't really that interested in football, just wanted to support a team, I think, that wound his dad up and picked Manchester United. And then when I was growing up, my granddad was endlessly trying to make me a Wolves fan when I was like 2 and 3 and 4. So he'd try and buy me kits and stuff. And my dad, just out of wanting to wind his own dad up, would buy me Man United kits. And once I was able to form sentences and have a memory, I just fell in love with what I saw, which was Eric Cantona and David Beckham and Ryan Giggs and Paul Scholes and that whole wonderful group of individuals who made football for me so exciting when I could first understand what this game was. And I don't know, you can choose your friends and everything. Kind of just like Cantona says, you can pick your family and you can divorce your wife, but you can't change your football team, and that's it. It's just that's who I fell in love with, and it's never changed.
So, what were your sort of dominant memories of those early years of supporting United?
Mostly, I was obsessed with David Beckham. So, watching him do anything was exciting for me because he seemed really cool, and I was a child. And it was I think it was just the number of different. It's probably no different to any kid who watches, I don't know, Chelsea or Arsenal or Manchester United. Now it's true of any football team, but the array of goals that could be scored from the number of people and how many of them were brilliant. Like the goals coming from all across, because there's nothing more exciting in football than goals, I don't think. And watching all these different brilliant people score all these different brilliant types of goals was just wonderful. And I think that's the thing I remember. Just goals. I have these visions of goals that if I think about now, I've no right to remember, but I can remember them. And I shouldn't be able to because I should have been too young.
I mean, you say you thought David Beckham was cool because you were a child. I'm basically the same age as David Beckham, and we all thought he was cool too. You know. What's your favourite kind of goal?
Oh, there's the question. I like goals that come out of the blue. So, two that instantly come to mind. It's Ronaldo versus Porto in the Champions League and him versus Arsenal in the Champions League, because they both completely different types of goal. The counter-attacking goal versus Arsenal, not the free kick. Just goals that came from nowhere that you just can't imagine how that happened so quickly when nothing was on. I love a counter-attacking goal. I think they're fantastic.
Yeah, they were the thing I think we missed most in the Van Gaal era in a way. I think there was one, like that Martial goal against Stoke. I can't think of another one.
Yeah, it was because it's possession-based play denies counter-attacking football, doesn't it?
But now we've got a manager who is certainly not averse to a counter-attack. Where did you stand on the whole Mourinho issue before he came?
I was asked endlessly on Time Devils, and my attitudes are that I always, I think, respected Mourinho, but I never clamoured for him at Old Trafford. Although when Fergie announced his retirement, I imagined to myself if all of the managers in world football were sat in a room, like a press conference, say, and Fergie's at the microphone, he says, "Right, I'm retiring. Who wants my job?" I think Mourinho's would have been the first hand up in that scenario. Yeah. David Moyes would have he'd have gone fetal in the corner. That we didn't get him first time round did annoy me, because I think he'd have wanted it more than anybody else and therefore been most likely to succeed, I think. But I was glad we got him in the end. But equally, I'd have been. There's lots of managers I think that would have been better than the years of Louis van Gaal. Although I really liked Louis van Gaal, I found him so much fun. I hated the football. I hated
sort
it.
of an adorable man in a way, isn't he?
Yeah. So some of the things he said were brilliant, but the football was painful.
What have you made of Mourinho's start? I mean, this is a good time to be asking that question, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I was one of these, I think, stupid people who said, what, Mourinho, Pogba, Ibrahimovic, we're going to walk the league.
Yeah.
And I thought we'd be first or second all the way through. But I mean, I don't know. I don't really know the ins and outs of what happened with Mourinho at Chelsea. But certainly when he left there, he wasn't. You know, I read an article that I thought was interesting, that when he left, it was written by a Chelsea fan about Mourinho joining Manchester United. And although it came from a completely biased place, I think some of it was true, and it concerned me at the time, but I'm okay with it now. And it said that if you described Mourinho in 2005, 2006, after winning his first couple of titles, and even when he left Chelsea, the words you'd have gone with would have been like cheeky and charismatic. But he doesn't really have that persona anymore, I don't think. As he's got older, I think maybe some of the charm that we all imagined he had has disappeared, and he seemed at times to be a slightly more bitter character. But I think, and when I first read that, I was like, oh, is that true? I don't know. But I don't think it is. I think he's doing excellently. I just think people underestimated the issues that were at Old Trafford and the quality of the squad. Because actually, I don't want to, there's no point picking on individuals. But if you look at some of the players in our team, like my brother sent me a stat earlier saying that Mata, since Mata joined, he's just second for most goals and assists in that period. I'm behind Wayne Rooney. And then you think, but since Mata joined, who else has there been? Van Persie left. Falcao, Di Maria came and left. There's no consistency at all. So for Mourinho to come in and it instantly be a success would be as though he was joining an already successful side that's been playing well and just needs a bit of fine tuning. But actually, we were a real mess.
Yeah, I definitely think that. I thought what is happening now would have happened earlier in the season, in a way.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, what Mourinho says is that it did happen earlier in the season, and that there was, like the Stoke game, the Burnley game. Those were evidence that what is happening now was already happening. But it's become inarguable, hasn't it? And one of the big reasons for that is the performance of last summer's signings.
Yes.
Can you ever remember United upgrading their quality so dramatically in one go?
No. I think we've tried before. I think there was a summer that we bought Ashley Young and Phil Jones.
What a heady days.
Yeah. There were some crazy years, but no, I don't think that's ever happened. I mean, the Di Maria, Falcao, who else signed that summer?
Herrera, Shaw, Blint.
Yeah, that could have been, but it wasn't really. What's happened now? They didn't have that impact. Like Di Maria was so sketchy, and Falcao was so unfortunate in many ways. He was a try though, wasn't he? But no, I don't think that. I mean, do you know what? I love watching Paul Pogba play football.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
It's a real joy.
What do you think he brings? What's special about him?
He has that thing, like in the same sense that, like, if you watch Juan Mata, when he hasn't got the ball, he always seems a little bit ahead. So everything he does is so quick. But Pogba manages to do that in so many areas of the pitch. And I think maybe that stands out because Wayne Rooney he's slowed down so much that every time he got the ball, the speed of play died around the final third. But with Mata, that's so different. But Pogba does it everywhere. Just every time he has the ball, he either will casually beat two men and knock it on, or just straight away will move the ball on. I just think he's really good. And I like watching him do things.
Something that a lot of people might be interested in is how you got into the YouTube stuff. Because, I mean, did you expect it to be as big as it's become when you started doing it?
No, not in a million years. I don't know. I still don't know why people watch. No, I don't know, really. It's really fun, as I'm sure you well know, to make stuff about something you really love.
Yeah.
You just do it because it's fun and it's better than anything else you can be doing with your time. But I don't know. I have no idea how it happened. I joined the ship at about 3,000 subscribers, and it's now on, I don't know, 350,000 or something ridiculous. And I don't know how that happened. It's very strange.
How did you join the ship? What happened?
Do you know? I've no idea. I've had this conversation with the people that were there when I first came into play, and I still don't know how it happened. All I remember is to test whether or not I was suitable or capable, I had to argue for 60 seconds about why Arsene Wenger would make a worse lover than Sir Alex Ferguson. And I used Wenger's terrible ability to do up a zip as evidence that he would be fumbly and not know what he was doing.
That seems like a solid argument. I don't know.
So, yeah, I mean, I took it seriously.
You got to, haven't you, in that situation?
Alex Ferguson, very passionate and always trying to give you a little bit more time.
Good. See? It's no wonder you got the gig, Sam.
Yeah, that's how it happened. Yeah, apart from that, no idea.
So how do you cope with the fact that every time you go to Old Trafford, like at least 70% of the people there probably know who you are? Let's say 40%, just to factor in conservative. What's
nice is what usually happens is I hold people's phones and take pictures of them with Adam McCullough. That's usually my role, which is nice. I've got an iPhone. I always have an iPhone. It's nice to look at the other options.
What's been the best phone you've used to take a picture of Adam McCullough and some stranger?
Someone had something that was enormous. It was like a laptop, but they assured me it was a phone. I don't know what it was. I don't know where it came from. I've never seen one before. I still haven't. It was amazing. It was massive. It was like a TV.
Whenever I go anywhere with Adam, I'm always struck by what it must be like for that many people to know what you look like. And yeah. I mean, I know you sort of you say you fade into the background in that situation, but you must get quite a lot of that too, Sam.
Not that. I mean, the other day I was on the tube and some children started singing the Thunderbirds theme tune at me because at the weekends I present Thunderbirds. I mean, that was quite interesting. That's more fun, I think, than people trying to take pictures of you with massive big objects. But no, Adam's basically in one direction when he goes to Old Trafford.
So what does the future hold for you in football? Like what are the things that you would like to do in it?
Do you know? I don't know. And for such a long time, I always said I didn't want to sort of pursue too much of a career in the world of sport in terms of trying to find work in it. I just want to enjoy it. And I think if I did it in work, then I maybe wouldn't enjoy it so much because you get the stresses and strains and the routine of work. So I don't know. I don't really have any plans at all for 2017. I just hope that United keep winning.
And do you think that we're going to keep winning?
Yeah, I do. The only thing that's annoying is I also think the teams above us will keep winning.
Yeah. So
I think we can make the top four, and I think we might be excellent for the rest of the season. But I fear that we slip too far behind in the first half.
What's your sort of maximum hope? Where do you think what's your kind of dare to dream finish?
I mean, how ridiculous is this? But I can't see us coming higher than third.
Yeah.
It's only halfway through the season. What a pathetic thing to say.
We're not a lot of points behind third anymore, but
no, I know. But even on the expression daring to dream, I still can't see us coming higher than third. I think there's just too many teams that keep winning and everyone's very good. The Premier League this season seems to have lost its fun factor of all the lower teams beat the big teams. That doesn't seem to be happening.
Yeah, I wonder if it's a response to Leicester in a way that big teams have all kind of strengthened either through player acquisition or manager upgrades.
Yeah.
So what is your who's your favourite United player ever other than David Beckham?
Paul Scholes. David Beckham wouldn't be my favourite player. Paul Scholes would be number one. And then I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would probably be number two. And then maybe Patrice Evra would be number three.
Oh, see, what an excellent shout. Number three for the number three.
God, yeah, well, it only makes sense. I mean, it's hard not to put Anderson in there.
I find it so easy not to put Anderson in there.
Oh, I loved Anderson. I just always wanted him to do so well. He never did, but I always wanted it so much.
Yeah, it was good when he pulled faces at the goalkeeper. That was good.
I loved that. I was at when we lost to City in the FA Cup semi-final at Wembley. I was in the corner when, towards the final whistle, Balotelli started making faces, and Anderson floored him with his chest. No, so I'm not that I'm advocating violence against Balotelli or anybody else in particular.
No, but if it's Anderson, it's different, right? There's a certain innocent charm to it.
Exactly.
And who's your favourite of the current bunch?
Juan Mata.
Yeah.
Didn't have to think about it. I love that man. It infuriates me. Paul, weigh in. Why does he not play anymore? Do you think it's a system, or do you think it's an ability question?
It's definitely a system question. If Mourinho was playing a number 10, I'm sure he'd be playing Mata every week. And he's still getting minutes. And he's played so much since he arrived that actually having a period where he's kind of, the pressure isn't all on his shoulders and he can make the kind of impact that he did against West Ham might actually be a good thing. Because, I mean, I love Juan Mata. He might be my answer too. But I wouldn't pick him over Mkhitaryan on the right in a million years in a 4-3-3.
No, neither.
So.
No. It's hard to see how he gets in a 4-3-3.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only spot for him, isn't it, on the right? And my big Mata theory is that we should be rotating him and Carrick and switching between the formations, really.
Yeah, that's a good shout. I like that.
You can borrow it if you want. I'm
Next time I'm doing a preview. I don't know about you guys, but I really think we should be rotating Matt with Carrick.
You spent the day with him once.
I did. It was the greatest day of my life. Although, do you know what? We waited at one location, then we were told, no, now he's coming to another location. And then so we went to the other location and he didn't turn up. And it took a really long time. And we were sort of told it's not happening, and it is happening several times during the day. Then all of a sudden, he just appeared. And without anybody knowing it was going to happen, and Herrera turned up too.
Oh, so you didn't know Herrera? You didn't know you were getting a twofer?
No, Herrera just came for lols.
That's incredible.
It was almost like he'd just text Matt and be like, what are you up to? He's got some media stuff to do. All right, I'll come. I've got nothing else to do. And he just came just for the fun of it.
The two of them made quite the double act in those videos.
They were sensational. I think they have what's fun is they have a genuine friendship. I think is why he was there. They had previously just dropped out in the other stuff they'd done that day. De Gea had been there. And he was just there for fun.
I cited that interview the other day in an article. And some vaguely serious journalistic purpose, I wanted to make the point that Juan Mata had picked David De Gea to go on a desert island with him instead of Ander Herrera, because Ander Herrera would talk too much.
Yeah, which is it's a great quote.
It is. It's good.
They should cite it in more articles.
That day was the day when I first made video with the puppet versions of
I love that.
And I was like, I feel my career is diverged somewhat from the career of my friends at Time Devils.
I think yours was better. Better content.
Well, talking of good content, thank you very much for joining us on the show.
You're welcome. It's been my pleasure.
It was really nice of Sam to take the time to do that. A lovely chap. Very, very much a pleasure to talk to Sam.
Excellent stuff, and thank you to Sam for joining us.
Yeah, real pleasure.
Real pleasure. We've got a couple of cup games coming up. Love the FA Cup. Me, don't know about you, Paul. Always very special, and got a game against Championship high flyers Reading at the weekend. And this one's going to have a bit of nostalgia involved in it because Yip Yap Stam is the increasingly successful manager of Reading.
I don't know if you remember, we did an interview with Sam Pilger a few weeks ago or months ago on the show, and he used to write Yap Stam's column, ghostwrite Yap Stam's column, and he was talking about him as a person, and I don't think Sam was at all surprised that Stam was making a good fist of it in management, because he's a smart guy and he really took his time. He was really patient before getting into management, and it looks like it's paying off. Let's hope it doesn't pay off too well for this game.
Yeah, I mean, Reading third in the Championship at the moment. It's the Championship, so everyone beats everyone a lot. They've lost quite a few games this season, but so have Newcastle. And it's really only Brighton that are running away with things in the Championship at the moment. And Reading have a good team on a very, very mid-ranked budget. You know, they are not a rich club. They've got some new owners or newish owners, Thai owners, who bought out a majority shareholding from John Majewski. And it's been, and you know, there's some talk about them selling up as well. And there's been some talk recently about crisis talks between Yap Stam and the management. Is he going to continue? There are rumours going around that Swansea might be coming into high Jaap Stam. I would hope he's more intelligent than to take that job on. But it looks like he's got a lot going for him. Of course, it's his first proper management job. He's had assistant jobs at Ajax and another Dutch club before this. But, looks like he's got something about him.
Yeah, and, he has a face that makes it look like he doesn't think about stuff. You got a face like that, people are going to jump to some conclusions, especially with his kind of fearsome on-pitch presence. But he's clearly from the Dutch school, isn't he? He's a very sort of cerebral guy, Jaap Stam. And so, yeah, not such a shock that he's...
Yeah, cerebral guy, and if you're a player at Reading, you're not going to him, are you?
Now, come on. You said you weren't going to swear all the way through this show. You've made Tom have to do a bleep there, Ed.
Yeah, but, people know what I mean. He's going to command respect, especially at that level. I mean, he's won absolutely everything, Jaap Stam. Interesting, he's been talking a little bit about his departure from United again, echoed Fergie's thoughts and said that it probably wasn't, the right time for him to leave when he did. Ferguson has admitted in the aftermath that he sold Stam too early. He did sell Stam too early, definitely, because he had a very good career after that. He went to Lazio and Milan and then back to Ajax. Played for a long time after that at the top level.
Might have cost him maybe a league title or two, because it wasn't long before the rot. We didn't win the league for 3 seasons, and we used to call that rot back in the old days. But it didn't take long after he left for it to get wobbly. But I would suspect it probably cost us a European Cup run or two, a real deep European Cup run, not having Stam. He made an enormous difference, didn't he?
Right.
At the very elite level.
And then as for Reading, doing well, got to admit, I'm going to pull a Shearer here. I don't know much about the Championship. Don't watch a lot of it. What about you? I noticed Paul McShane is at Reading these days.
They definitely play in blue and white hoops.
Definitely.
Stripes? Hoops. I'm going with hoops.
And they're probably based in like Buckinghamshire or something like that.
Yeah, Reading, I reckon. I reckon they are actually based in Reading. They've got Jan Kermagant, who was instrumental in getting Bournemouth promoted, and they're fresh off, a decent run of results. They've you say everyone beats everyone in the Championship, which they of course do, but they won 3 in a row over Christmas, Reading. And
a very good comeback for the last victory, winning 3-2 at the weekend. So in a decent spell of form. Be interesting to see the approach from both managers to this one. So, logically, United win this one easily, but also logically, Mourinho makes 6 or 7 changes, as he should.
The one change I'd really like to see, because I think you play a nominally weaker team against Reading in the 3rd round in the FA Cup than you do in the League Cup semi-final, which I suspect Mourinho will probably play something of a full-strength team in that game. Now, I wonder whether we'll see either Rashford or Martial up front in this game. I would love to see that, because I think they've both sort of proven they deserve a chance up there, really, with their recent performances.
They do. They've both got to play, surely. And Zlatan does not need to play in this game. I mean, for God's sake, he's 35. Give him a rest. He's barely had a rest this season. I know he doesn't need it because, he's post-human in some way. Elsewhere, it is kind of difficult to see all the changes because, Mourinho is working with a reasonably small squad, isn't it? Is he really going to bring back Schneiderlin and Schweinsteiger for this game? I mean, he's not looked like giving them a sniff at all. And outside of that, Luke Shaw, if he's fit enough, will get a game. Rooney, if he's fit enough, will get a game. Fellaini and Juan Mata will come into the team. Sergio Romero will start. Ashley Young, maybe not, and a few players that haven't, Michael Carrick definitely gets a rest. Maybe we see Tim Fosu-Mensah, maybe. But apart from that, it's quite a thin first-team squad at the moment.
Yeah, it is. And this is a kind of key point, really, in terms of what we were talking about earlier with the race for 4th, because and the kind of consistency that we can maintain, because to a large degree, there was pretty hefty rotation, but the rotation is in certain spots. There are certain players who we just can't afford to lose, and you wonder whether one of those is Michael Carrick. Although, of course, he didn't play against Borough, and we were perfect. You know, we made a lot of chances and did very well in that game by the end of it. So, you know, it was very funny that Michael Carrick posted a picture of himself eating an ice cream on Christmas Day saying it's never too cold for an ice cream, all wrapped up, and then he missed the game on the Boxing Day with illness.
Yes, but of course, you know, illness is a virus, not about the coldness of the food you eat, Paul. Just, you know, medical information there.
No, but if you lower your core body temperature, your immune system has to kick in to raise the core body temperature. So you might be temporarily compromised in that situation.
He might have got brain freeze. Maybe that's why he wasn't fit enough for the game. Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, does Mourinho dip into the pool of players here, even deeper into the reserves? I mean, Tuanzebe, Joe Riley, Regan Paul, all deserve some time, I think.
The possibility that we could just play the under-18s, just play Tahith Chong and Angel Gomez, let them run riot. No, I mean, I don't think he'll do that, to be honest, because I also don't think we would win if he did. I think this is a game that needs to be taken seriously. It needs a decent strength team, and there are enough kind of fringe players to, you know, enough people that need a game or need a start, let's say. I mean, you know, Juan Mata hasn't started a game for ages. So you just like build the team around him with Martial or Rashford up front. Maybe even play Memphis on the left, although it seems remarkably unlikely he's ever going to play for us again. He's surely going to be off soon. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, Memphis's New Year's message. Not a great look.
Not a great look.
Gotta say, don't think that's doing him, you know, let's make fun of this hat and swim around in my luxury pool.
But I think it's, in a way, like, he's probably just sad. He's probably just looking for a bit of an outlet because his absolute dream has turned into something of a sort of nightmare, you know. A very well remunerated nightmare, but a horrible couple of years for him, I'm sure.
Should have posted a video of himself pounding the streets, working on his fitness.
Yeah, well, he's done that over and over again and no one's paid any attention. So, you know, he probably just wanted a glass of champagne, to be fair to the lad.
Fair enough. Well, that's Reading, and then move on to Hull City in midweek. And I'm presuming, you know, as probably a slightly stronger team, but, you know, with Liverpool coming up straight away after that.
It's not that straight away, is it?
Well, a weekend after. So
yeah, but that's, you know, that's like if it was a Champions League game, you wouldn't be playing a weakened side on the 5 days before your next game, because it's Tuesday. I think the whole game is on the Tuesday, and the Liverpool game is on the Sunday.
Okay, yeah, that's not so bad. There is some time to rest, but there have been a lot of games recently. So yeah, let's presume it's closer to full strength against Hull. Then with some rotation. I mean, it just has to be at this time of year.
I mean, I think he'll. My guess is that Mourinho will be gearing up to play the best side he can get out against Hull in the League Cup, because my guess is that he's going to be really keen on winning some silverware.
As he should be.
Yeah, absolutely.
As he should be. Yeah, and this is a great chance for United because Hull are rubbish.
Oh, poor old Mike Phelan, eh?
He'll get a good... Jaap Stam will get a great reception, and Mike Phelan will get a very good reception, as he should
yeah.
do.
Absolutely.
Hopefully some people send some balloons his way.
Do you remember when Mike Phelan said basically he was in charge for the last several years of Fergie's career?
Yeah, I think he may have been misinterpreted there somewhat, but yes.
I think he was too.
Anyway, predictions for these two games? What do you reckon?
Well, Hull have got a minus 27 goal difference in the league this season, and the last time I checked, minus 27 is a bad goal difference. I think we are only narrowly going to beat Reading. I think they will be, as they have been for much of the season, they'll be quite well organised, etc. So I think maybe like a 2-1 win over Reading, something a bit of a scrap to get through, and then I think we'll beat Hull 3-0 in the semi-final, giving ourselves Zlatan Ibrahimovic hat-trick. There you go.
Very nice. I'm going to go for a couple of comfortable wins. I mean, if it had been Van Gaal, I'd agree with you against Reading, but you know, Reading score goals, ship goals. So I'm thinking United will score a few in this one. Maybe Reading get one, so I'm going to say a 3-1 win against Reading and a 3-0 win against Hull. Easy.
Nice. Well, that's a 6-1 aggregate for us in the next couple of games. But that's just how we roll now. between rantcasts, Man United win 2 games. It's just the way of the world now. It's just what we do.
We're good.
We're good again. It's nice, isn't it? And, even though the West Ham game wasn't great, the truth is, all joking aside, we are good. Like, watching us is good. The players are good. The team's good. There's things wrong, but there were things wrong all the way through the Fergie years. And for the most part, we are pretty good.
Yeah. Well, that's it for this week. And in the meantime, while you're enjoying United spank Reading and Hull, you can catch me on Twitter at United Rant and Paul at UTU Rantcast, and Paul on Bleacher Report doing his listicles and slideshows and other stuff. And Paul on
no other stuff
no
anymore.
Other stuff, just the listicles, and they are top quality listicles. Let me tell you.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah. If listicles is your thing, this is the place to go. UMaxit, still doing stuff for UMaxit?
Certainly am. Yeah, that's great fun, and they're proper articles too. So.
And a turn or two on Time Devils, and if you want, you can pay him £10 and go to see a game with him. No,
that's not a thing. Definitely not a thing. But you can pay us for doing this show at patreon.com/rantcast and get cool stuff for it, like mugs and T-shirts and amazing art prints and all that kind of stuff. And if you do that already, stay tuned, because there's more show coming right now. And we're going to be talking about the Manchester United career of Cristiano Ronaldo. So there you go.
Very good. And for the rest of you, we'll see you next week.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.